Matthew Stafford, man. The weird thing with Matthew Stafford is that I think he's a pretty decent quarterback. Like he's definitely a top 15, and I feel like he's shown that even with like really crappy teams around him and terrible situation time after time again. And he's also always put up a respectable offense. That's what I respect about Matthew Stafford. He's always helped create some sort of respectable offense for the Detroit Lions, no matter how bad it is, how bad the team is, and how bad the defense is. For some reason, I was reading up on Detroit Lions Twitter and Detroit Lions, what the beat reporters are saying. They're almost like at a consensus that he's going to be gone this year. Like that this is going to be his last year, which I think is insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. I mean, he's always become a staple of kind of watching the Lions play. I mean, you'd have to, I think it's all the way back to the 0-16 season, because that's right after when they drafted him that, he wasn't their quarterback, and that seems like ages ago. So, yeah, I mean, he's been a mainstay of that team, and, you can kind of tell that things are kind of going rough. I mean, we kind of saw bits and pieces of it in the Lions-Bears game, and, the Lions pulled it out, but it seems like they've really kind of been struggling, and that, Stafford doesn't quite have the same hold of that team as he has had in the past, and definitely if the vibe of Detroit is that he's not going to be there, I think he's definitely a candidate, a name that we're definitely going to hear attached to this Bears team quite a bit, because it just seems like a decent landing spot. And I know that, everyone always likes to draw those kind of interdivision things with the Bears, especially when, all the circus was going on with the Rodgers situation. One of the first teams that was already came up was the Bears.
I mean, if Rodgers is available, clearly I'd want Rodgers, but...
You sure you don't want Stafford? Come on.
Yeah. But Stafford, I mean, if he comes available, I truthfully believe that would be a huge mistake by this Detroit Lions team. Like, huge mistake. I think that'd be the best thing possible for Matthew Stafford, because Stafford, I believe you can win a Super Bowl with. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not someone I've always been hesitant with Stafford. He does pat his stats in a lot of different ways, and many of the seasons where he looked like he was throwing like 5,000 yards, like crazy stuff, right? You could tell that a lot of it was just when they were getting beat out. But the one thing that Stafford, the reason why I think he would be probably the best option for the Chicago Bears, not including Trevor Lawrence, he's played with a lot of crappy offensive teams and made them a lot better, okay? And a lot of the teams he's played with have been way worse than this Bears offense, surrounding teams. So you're talking about a guy that you've put him in there and you know already you're going to get an immediate boost. And if you can put a couple pieces in the draft around that offensive line, maybe throw a wide receiver in there, maybe give him a Jalen Waddle in the draft with that top draft pick, man, that could be a good offense. That would be something that Stafford has never really had. Pair him with Matt Nagy, get a little bit better of a schematical advantage, something he's never really had. That could be a dangerous team, man. That could be a really dangerous team.
We just need to get him the next Megatron, next Calvin Johnson. We're dreaming over here, but I think that, there's a two-pronged kind of question that needs to be asked here, and that's, would Matthew Stafford fit either a Nagy system if he ends up staying, or whoever our prospective, future head coach would be? Is there really a place for him, in the future of the NFL? Do you see it?
Yeah, I do. I think that he would be literally the perfect fit, because he's a high-level processor. He's okay with, he's proven to be good when everything's on his back, which is the situation he's been in a lot of times. He's comfortable with negative situations. I really can't think of a better fit for either side if Stafford went to the Bears. Truthfully.
Yeah.
Because here, I truthfully believe that it could even be a better fit than Dak going to the Bears, because A, cap space wise, but B, I feel like Dak, actually maybe not. They're actually kind of similar players when you think about it. Dak gives you a little added mobility.
I would say that I feel like, if Nagy were to stay as the head coach, I can't really speak to any future coach, but if it was Nagy next year, I don't see him utilizing his mobility enough. As far as like we sometimes see, the design sneaks, and I know there's a lack of confidence in the RPO, but Dak really excels running that RPO, and I just feel like Nagy doesn't utilize that enough as is.
And I'm a little bit afraid of Dak's numbers when he didn't have like Amari Cooper, and then obviously they put a ton of different talent around him. Whereas Stafford, you kind of know already that he's good with these crappy teams, so it's like that's a little more comforting. But I mean, really the big thing is cap space. The reason why you'd pick Stafford is that he would offer a lot. He wouldn't require the contract that Dak may require. But, at the end of the day, I think that would be an insane match right there. That would be, if Stafford gets free from the Lions, that'd be the luckiest day in Bears history. Because we don't need, that's the thing is, sure, maybe a guy like Trey Lance has a higher ceiling than Stafford. Again, we don't need a number one, the top quarterback in the NFL. Just even a better than average, a top 15 quarterback in the NFL would be so far and beyond anything that we have had ever.
we set our bar so low here, don't we? I mean, come on. Like, honestly, we're just like, we're willing to take the absolute minimum to push us over to the edge to make this a Super Bowl, quality team. And I wish the Bears were in a position to really get like a true like franchise quarterback, someone to be a long-term like stay here for the team, because it seems like we're always just cycling through names, man. And, it's always like, oh, this person, they might do it, in the right circumstance. And for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to end up, working. I just, I'm a little bit hesitant to just bring in a free agent quarterback just because of the way that it's turned out. And Matthew Stafford is in a different caliber than, players that they've brought in recently, I think.
Yeah.
He's definitely, he's still even a higher caliber than someone like Jay Cutler. I mean, and that might seem kind of like a laughable statement, but he was rather, he was a bigger prospect when the Bears went out and got him. People thought he had a lot more upside. It definitely took, a little bit of trade capital to go out and get him. Most notably Kyle Orton. No, I'm just kidding. But I think that Stafford could be a decent fit for the Bears team. I think, he would give the offense perhaps enough ability to put them in that Super Bowl possible quality team, but it seems like a lot to say that this team that we're watching right now could be in the Super Bowl. But I know exactly what you mean, that, Stafford would be able to extract, some more out of these receivers. Hopefully, the Bears could go out there and get him some more weapons there. If, someone like Allen Robinson doesn't end up staying. But I think it would be an interesting process, and it'd be certainly interesting to see him in a Bears uniform. And I definitely feel like he'd be a step up. Would he be enough? I mean, that would be what would be interesting to watch play out, right?
I mean, I'd be even in favor for bringing in a free agent quarterback and drafting a quarterback, both at the same time. Right. I'm fine with that. I think throw everything you can at the position. I really consistently feel, I mean, we're right now like 29th in offensive spending or something like that. Just figure it out. We put more resources into the offense. Really right now the offense has been better than the spending we've been putting into it, luckily, but we need to figure it out. So just do everything you can to figure it out. But I think really that kind of sums up the whole Stafford thing. I mean, we would be, if we're come, what is it, April or whatever, when the NFL, March, I believe, when the NFL free agency starts, and Matthew Stafford and guys like Dak Prescott are available, we're going to be one of the luckiest franchises in history that we're going to have that sort of free agent class for quarterbacks as well. And, it's starting to look like the modern day NFL, that we're getting so much quarterback talent that we are seeing some quality quarterback names in the free agent carousel. I mean, it seems like just like a couple years ago, it was just like Joe Flacco and like washed up Joe Flacco, Case Keenum, Brock Osweiler, like guys that ended up being terrible. And now we're having guys like Tom Brady and even Phillip Rivers. He's clearly way past his prime, but he's playing a lot better, or he's playing good enough for that Colts team. You know what I'm saying? Better than Jacoby
I think
Brissett.
He's still the main thing holding that Colts team back, I think. I think they're almost kind of winning in spite of Rivers at times.
Still better than Flacco, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think that it's slowly been improving. It's taken a while because the talent pool has kind of been, you know, it was kind of sparse for a while as far as what you need in a modern NFL quarterback, and especially one that's going to be a franchise quarterback. But hey, if we could eventually get to the day where you can sign a franchise quarterback off the free agent market pretty simply, that'd be a great day for the Bears.
Yeah, right. All we had to do was wait it out for 40 years.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Hey guys, like our video, subscribe, and check out our bi-weekly podcast on Apple Podcasts. Thanks.